Hey guys, it is Ian Lives here. Welcome back to another franchise ranking. You guys like these? They get a bunch of views. Last one I did was Amityville Horror, and that got a lot of love. So why not keep them coming? This was a franchise that I've been meaning to check out for a long time. It gets referenced a lot. It gets quoted a lot. I always see the little things. Of course, I'm talking about Critters. This is a franchise that is not super big, but bigger than I thought it was, to be completely honest. We're going to be ranking all 5 of them. I'm not including the Shudder miniseries that isn't even on Shudder anymore. It was something that they did like 5-6 years ago now, where it was like 8 10-minute episodes. I watched a couple. It seemed like it was pretty fun, and it was alright. It had some actors in it, like Gilbert Gottfried, which is just random. But I'm not going to watch the whole thing, and I'm also not going to include it in the ranking. So, if you were wondering about the miniseries. But, starting at number 5, the bottom of the little Crite barrel, is Critters Attack. This is the most recent one, and this is the final one that has come out in the franchise. Kind of like how most retro horror franchises try to get rebooted in like modern times. I usually like them, and I want to root for them, obviously. This was one that I didn't like, but I'm still like bumped up the score that I gave it, because I could tell that the people behind it really cared for the franchise, really cared for horror, because there's no CGI like that I could notice. I think there's one part at the end where the Crites blow up. There's CGI in that, probably. It looked like CGI. But for the most part, it's all practical. The Crites aren't CGI, which is what I was fearing. They're puppets. They're real. And all of the gore is practical. Now, there's some stupid stuff that they add, like having a girl Crite that is friendly to humans, and these humans find her, and they want to keep her, which is why the Crites are after them. That was all kind of dumb. The acting is downright horrible. You get Dee Wallace back, who was in the first one, and she kind of plays the Laurie Strode type character from Halloween 2018, where she's just not messing around. She's got a gun. She's ready to fight these things. And that was fun, but she was barely even in it. And when she was in it, she didn't talk. She has like pretty much no dialogue. And she just shows up to end the movie. And it felt very unnecessary to have her in. But yeah, Critters Attack is just it's not a great movie at all. Which is sad. You know, I thought it was going to have like the Leprechaun's Return kind of approach, which I love Leprechaun Returns. I thought that was a great comeback. This was a sour comeback. And I understand why they haven't done another movie since then. Number 4 is Critters 3. This one takes place in Los Angeles, which is a different setting, and it takes place in an apartment. Most horror franchises like to take their characters to either New York, space, or an apartment. This franchise did 2 of those things. It has a very young Leonardo DiCaprio in here, which was cool to see. I think this was his first full, like, feature-length film role, was Critters 3. Now, the same trend is in Critters 4, which we'll get to, but they don't focus enough on the Crites. They focus more on stopping the Crites. The Crites are very buried in this movie. When they're in the movie, they're not interesting. There's no cool dialogue from them in the subtitles. There's no cool gimmicks like them turning into a big ball. There's no new stuff that they're introducing. They're just kind of there. There's only like 4 or 5 of them, and they're not like the highlight of the film. The highlight of the film is the guy. I think his name's Charlie. The guy that comes back in all of the original 4. He was the highlight, but he also was kind of unutilized. Critters 2, which we'll get to later. Again, I don't want to talk about these before I'm even talking about them. I love how Critters 2 ended. I loved how the characters were left wanting more. I loved how Charlie's character was left. I think that's his name. But they kind of drop it. They kind of ruin the character. They don't ruin the character because he's good in 4. but when he's in it, he's not all that. I think this movie is good for what it is, but it's not a great movie. It's not super interesting. It loses the fun factor that all these movies have. And yeah, that's why it's this low. Number 3 is going to be Critters 4. This is the one where they go to space, which is very interesting. You have Brad Dourif in here. You also have the girl actor. I don't know names. I'm not good with names. But I know that she's a big actress. I love Brad Dourif in here. He's the highlight. He's the highlight of the movie for me, because this one suffers from the same issue. The Krites are very buried. They're not like the highlight of the film. And this one narrows down the Krites to only 2. There's only 2 Krites in the whole entire movie, which is just a bummer. It makes the movie really boring. This is the longest in length out of all of them, and it takes about half an hour, maybe more, to get into the nitty gritty. Which was very taxing on my attention, because Critters movies are usually the whole time. This one is really only like that in the final act. It's just like a whole lot of unnecessary dialogue, them hee-hawing around this pod that they found, which eventually has Charlie and the 2 Krites on it. Charlie's really good in here, which is, I'm glad that they didn't mess up the Krites and Charlie, because that would have really bummed down the movie a whole lot more. But I actually loved Charlie in this movie. He was fun. I like how he interacted with these futuristic type space people. It just overall wasn't interesting or entertaining as much as I would hope it was going to be. Number 2 is going to be the one that started it all. Critters. This was just a blast. This is like 80s in a jar. It's that fun creature feature energy that doesn't take itself too seriously and actually labels itself as a horror comedy, which I love those types of 80s movies. The serious kind of more campy 80s films are great. They're really good. But I like a good horror comedy from the 80s, like Frankenhooker and stuff like that. Evil Dead 2. Those are like the movies that I think are really my taste, and this definitely had that energy. You have this family, which is like the main group of characters. The dad is a great character. You also have Dee Wallace as the mom, which is who she played in this one, and she's actually good. She actually performs in this movie, unlike Critters Attacks. And then you have this little kid named Brad, I think is his name. And he returns in the sequel, and that's it. Also wish they kind of explored his character a little more. But he's great in here. He's young. He's just good, man. The critters, like the kills, I haven't really talked about the kills because they're not very stand out. Critters movies are known for the critters, not for their kills. The kills in this one, there's some good gore, but there's not amazing kills. I don't know if I'm on an island with that. There's not like a kill that I even remember thinking about it that I want to talk about. So that's kind of a bummer as well. I loved the little alien bounty hunters who clone themselves, which is how I'm going to segue into my number 1, which is Critters 2. They really take everything that made Critters so good and amp it up with not only a bigger budget, but better humor, better characters, a better plot. I really loved Critters 2. You get Brad again in the lead role, as I said before. He's much older. He moves back into town just for Easter. For some reason, even though his family's not there. Not sure. I'm not really sure. And for some reason, the whole town doesn't believe him that critters attacked the town, even though they were all there for that, weren't they? Lynn Shay was also in the first one, but is in this one. She's just so funny in these movies. I think she's great. I love Lynn Shay. There's also some other actors that are in here. The bounty hunters are even funnier. There's this point that was kind of a missed opportunity where one of the bounty hunter guys are about to clone into a Freddy Krueger video store standee, and the guy stops him. I think that would be perfect time for a Robert Englund cameo. Have Robert Englund in the makeup. maybe even shitty makeup, I would have been fine. I just thought that would have been a cool cameo. It was kind of a mishap. But the Krites are even way better here. They focus on them a lot more. And they also bring the big ball of Krites, that gimmick, that I really enjoy. It's really fun, you know? Yeah. Overall, there was only one that I didn't like. And that's Critters Attacks, which is unfortunate. I'm glad that they had fun. It seems like they had fun while making it. Overall, this was a fun franchise for me. I like the Critters movies. And I understand why they're kind of cult classics. At least the first two seem like they're really big cult classics. And I understand why. They're just a lot of fun. They're really good examples of creature features. And they're a good mix of horror and comedy. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. Also follow my Instagram at IanLives_, and follow my Letterboxd at wehateian. I love you guys, man. I'm out.